What you're seeing here is our latest enhancement to our WholeEarth data product. You're looking at real-world elevation data, approximately 100-meter elevation data, and you're also seeing some terrain imagery that uses some rules-based, geotypical rendering mechanisms inside of land use areas. Now, the effective resolution of that terrain imagery is half meter. Now, this 100-meter elevation data and half meter imagery covers the entire virtual globe surface. So the entire Earth is covered by 100-meter elevation and half-meter terrain imagery resolution. On top of that terrain imagery resolution data is also some geotypical 3D content. So here's what we do. Geospecific satellite imagery tells us where forest areas are, tells us where the urban areas are, and dirt and soil and water and other kinds of areas. And then we use a geotypical swatch of imagery to fill in those areas. And then on top of that geotypical imagery, we use some models on top so that they match. And the combination is quite believable and very compelling. We call it a ready-made content. And it's ready, like let's say, so to speak, out of the box on Rockwell Collins image generators as an option if you choose to go that route. And that ready-made content can drastically help you with your costs and controlling your data, your synthetic environment data costs, because it's ready-made content. It comes with the image generator. You also see that we have dialed down artificially the time of day, so you get time of day representation. It's not just an out the window, but it has day, dusk, night capabilities. It also has summer and winter capabilities, just like all of the Rockwell Collins WholeEarth products that we produced for the last 20 plus years. But what this one does that we haven't been able to do in other WholeEarth products is it has drastically increased worldwide terrain imagery resolution and the 3D features. So if you look over here at this little monitor, to my right outside the theater, you'll also see a simultaneously rendered view of IR, long-wave IR. So it supports all of the sensor bands. This data set, ready-made out of the box, supports all of the wavelengths and the data in a very believable package. Now we're going to jump our eye point up to 35,000 feet. And we're going to do that for two reasons. First of all, we want you to see that this WholeEarth synthetic environment is usable at all altitudes. Second of all, we want you to see, dispel any misgivings you might have about geotypical imagery. First of all, who can tell me, based on what you see, where we are in the world? Raise your hands. I know Steve knows. Anybody? Okay, that was the lower Grand Canyon with the Colorado River dumping into Lake Mead. And Lake Mead actually has water in it. For you Californians. Also, we wanted to show you this geospecific imagery because it shows you the detail and content that is real world specific. And this is what we use at the core of our product to drive all of the where we place geotypical data, both the terrain imagery as well as the models. So the core of our product, the core of this is geospecific imagery. And then but because that geospecific imagery is inadequate at lower flight altitudes, we got to enhance it with more impressive resolution data, higher resolution imagery data, and 3D models. So it's the combination of geospecific imagery data and geotypical enhanced imagery and models. We're here with a product announcement, but in reality, we're really at an alpha state with our product. We're not going to release until May of 2016. From now until then, we'll be finalizing an initial content, mostly in the continental United States. Then over the next 2 years, we'll be tailoring the entire rest of the Earth with different content in those regions. So it looks like Asia and Africa and Europe and Australia and so on and so forth. So we're in a production schedule. We'll have 2 releases every year. We hope to recognize that in this content in upstate New York, it's drastically different than what I showed you in the Southwest. And that's what we anticipate doing in all the regions of the Earth. So we have representative content in all the regions of the Earth. Still a half-meter resolution, and still with all the rendered in all the wavelengths. So that's the product we're announcing here. We're going to release in May, 2 releases per year, and we're looking forward to it. We already have 2 customers, 2 international customers, who have seen the beauty of how they can control their costs through ready-made content. They've already placed pre-orders, and they're waiting for that May release. And they're going to add some high-resolution insets to this data set, using it everywhere else. So back to my original point. How do you control costs in synthetic environment data? One way that we're presenting to you is use ready-made content that's available in all the wavelengths and in summer and winter seasons, and give you the resolution and frequency, fidelity that you need to support all flight envelopes. Then you can add the insets as you need. Thank you for participation today. Any of us here would love to be able to answer your questions. Thanks for coming.